We've waited 4 long years for this, the pinnacle of our sport. The FEI World Championships 2022 is finally here. 28 nations are represented across 5 days of para-dressage competition in 5 championship grades. The stage is set, the athletes and horses are ready. Let the games begin. Welcome back to the para-dressage arena here in Herning. We have another great day of competition in store, but let's take a look at some of the highlights from yesterday. Pole position for the Dutch in para-dressage after day 7 of the FEI World Championships. The Netherlands are in a strong position to take gold in the team competition after finishing first and second in the grade 4. Sanne Weerts followed up her individual gold medal with another superb display aboard De Manteur, scoring 78.415%, while compatriot Demi Harkins was next best on Douala. However, host nation Denmark are likely to provide stiff opposition. Katrine Christensen, showing her grade 2 gold medal display, was no fluke by again coming top of that section, scoring 77.176%. The Danes will have 3 riders competing today, while the Dutch will have just 2 in action, with the top 3 scores counting towards the final total. The performance of the day went to Richard Snickers in the grade 1. Winner of Latvia's first ever equestrian gold this week, the 34-year-old broke the 80% barrier aboard King of the Dance, scoring 80.393% to make him a firm favourite for Sunday's freestyle category. And welcome back to day 2 of the team competition. We have 18 teams competing at this World Championships, looking for those podium spaces, but also the top 7 teams qualify through for the Paris Paralympics in 2024. Host nation France will automatically get that spot, but looking to make a good performance here in the lead up to that. So we start this morning with the grade 3 competition. The first group on your screen now, we have USA coming forward, Australia, and that first rider for Denmark, putting in that strong performance yesterday in the grade 2. Denmark putting in that very strong performance in the grade 2 yesterday, as were the Netherlands. Another really nice sunny day today. The Dutch currently with 2 superb scores from yesterday, looking to build on that with their 3rd rider in this grade 3 class. Denmark with 2 riders coming forward in this grade 3, and Britain also with their 3rd rider coming forward this morning. And the first rider just entering the arena shortly will be riding for Mexico, Ignacio Trevino Fuerte. So riding as an individual here, riders as well as riding for the team, also looking to secure that spot in the freestyle tomorrow. Top 8 combinations, the scores being combined from the team scores in this team competition and the individual earlier in the week. So riding for an individual today. So the scores for the team are just from the past 2 days, but the individual scores are from the individual competition earlier in the week and this team competition, with those top 8 scores going through to the freestyle tomorrow. Representing Mexico. riders needing to put in 2 consistent performances to get that top 8 finish. Finishing in 12th place in the individual, with scores being quite close to hit in that qualifying group. And this grade 3 class being ridden in this 20 by 40 arena, so later on today we will see the grade 5. But grades 1, 2 and 3 in this shorter arena 20 by 40 as they perform the walk trot movements. And in this grade 3 class you'll see lots of changes of bend. The walk pirouettes are introduced, or the turn on the haunches as they're in this grade, and the trot leg yield. So riders classified from grade 1 to 5, grade 1 being for those most impaired and grade 5 being for the least impaired. So this grade 3 class sits right in the middle. And riders in this grade often having limited use of their lower legs, so Ignacio is showing really nice positioning of that turn on the haunches there and managing to keep the activity really nicely. So those turn on the haunches movement and the leg yields are quite difficult for riders not able to use those lower legs to really influence the body and contain the positioning throughout the movements. Riders in this grade able to use their voice to communicate with the horse and moving nicely into that leg yield. So that movement, you have the turn onto the 3/4 line and trot on that 3/4 line before on that EB line you want to transition promptly into that leg yield, reaching the track at the corner marker. And you saw a really nice move into that with the horse accepting it. This 3-loop serpentine with the walk transition over the centre line, so really testing the horse's suppleness with the change of bend, the straightness and the reaction within the transitions. And again, just losing the quarters a little bit this way, but keeping a nice rhythm in that trot. And then that final turn onto the centre line and a really smart halt to finish. And a really nice consistent test to start this grade 3 class from Ignacio, riding as an individual. To try to secure that individual overall placing as highly as possible. A really super job, really nicely presented here. Mexico without a team here. So just riding for that individual placing. And we should have the scores through for you shortly for that first test. And here we go, judge at E, 68.088, H, 66.912, C, 68.529, M, 68.088, and B, 65.882. So that gives a final percentage of 67.500, goes into first place provisionally. So a really super start there in this grade 3. And the next rider to go will be a very important one to watch from a team perspective. The first rider in this class for Denmark. Denmark have 2 riders coming forward. The second rider being the newly crowned world champion, Tobias Thorning Jorgensen, who comes right at the end, the penultimate rider to go. Having that super score of over 77% in the grade 2 yesterday. So they will be very eagerly anticipating. So the team standings here after day 1, just on your screen. Some riders, Austria, Spain, both have 3 scores on the board there. United States of America with 2, as have Germany and France. But some of the big hitters not shown there, but will be after this class as more scores are counted. So the Netherlands with a rider in the grade 3 and a rider in the grade 5 later today, both putting forward massive scores yesterday from the grade 4. And you can see it is getting busier in the audience. Carla due down the centre line at 11:09, and here she comes into the arena. Riding in front of a home crowd. She finished 4th in the individual on a score of 71.618. Hoping to put something forward for the team competition here. Denmark with that huge score yesterday and hoping for a big score later from Tobias. But first, into the arena, Carla Deem Young riding the 12-year-old mare, Miss Daisy. They will also have Nicole riding in the grade 5 later on today, but a solid score from Carla would really take the pressure off. And Carla really riding forwards into this test, really attacking it. This horse has so much elasticity, really nice, consistent rhythm in this trot work. Carla sits so nicely on this horse, makes a really good picture. Just showing that change of bend after the circle on the centre line, so not much space in those movements. The circle doesn't leave a huge amount of space on completing it to re-straighten the horse and rebalance the horse and ask for that new right bend to change the rein, but Carla showing that really nicely. Just allowing the reins for that free walk. Showing good stretch. Nice transition from that medium walk into that free walk. And again, straight into an 8-meter circle. So you really want to show that easy transition, the walk rhythm staying the same as you go into that medium walk, and Carla did that nicely. Yep, managing to keep the activity in the bend there. And it's really tricky to ride that walk turn on the haunches from a big medium walk. So showing nicely the preparation going into that, just collecting the walk for a couple of strides just to get that balance back and put the horse in a nice position. Oh, just unfortunately not quite square there. The horse just taking a slightly too big a stride in front and just not quite getting that square halt, and then affecting the balance into the rein back. But nicely up into the trot and some good strides into that medium. Showing a tiny bit of resistance in that transition to the walk. Coming from that really nice big trot, so sometimes the horse can get a little bit onward, and those are very quick transitions that come up. You can just see that the horse gives a really nice uphill picture. Riding now onto that final centre line, and I think she'll be really pleased with this, and a really nice halt to finish. The horse just taking a step out of that, but a very, very nice test for Denmark from Carla. And the crowd really showing their appreciation here for her. She gives a big thumbs up to the Danish supporters. And a really solid test from Carla there. They will be looking for Tobias to pull in a big score in this class, but a solid test from her will really help the team. To move on to the podium.
The scores: Judge Elite 72.794, Judge Elite 73.5.
Just missing out on a medal in Tokyo last year as a team. And here are the scores just shortly coming through. Judge at E, 72.794, H, 73.529, C, 71.912, M, 73.235, and B, a 75 puts her on 73.294 and into first place at the moment in this class. But more importantly, another really good score for Denmark. So just showing up as that drop score there currently as the lowest score, but a very, very nice contribution to the team score. And America also coming later in this class, as are Holland and Great Britain. So at the end of this class, we should have a clearer idea of where the teams are sitting and what those final riders need to do in the grade 5. So America's final rider will go in this class, so they will have their last score and their total will be decided. The winning total in Tokyo last year, Great Britain scoring 229.905 to take that gold medal, just 0.6% ahead of the Dutch team, with USA in bronze. And Holland taking that gold medal back in Tryon in 2018, also by 0.6% ahead of Great Britain. So this class will be very, very interesting to see how it plays out. But a very nice score for Carla there. And next into the arena, representing Italy, Francesca Salvati. So Italy also with a really good start yesterday. A massive score from Sara Morganti in the grade 1, 77.250. And Carola also putting forward a really good score of 72.5. Horse just getting a little bit excited, but well recovered by Francesca. She just gets her balance back. I think one of the straps came undone. So those thigh straps that you see, just adjusting there. So next into the arena for Italy, Francesca Salvati. She rides the 14-year-old gelding Oliver Witz. So those thigh straps, riders allowed to apply for compensating aids or tack adaptations just to help them ride. And unfortunately this horse being a little bit unsettled in the arena, such a shame, just backing off her in that halt. Which is going to be really costly. And she put in a nice performance in the individual, finishing 8 on 70%. So again, looking for that individual qualifying place for the freestyle tomorrow, but also a nice score for the team. She seems to have gotten back nicely and was just picking up the marks. Unfortunately, the horse just getting distracted by that top corner where they can see across the trade stands. It's not quite as settled as in the individual. You can see she's not quite got the suppleness and the control of the horse's body today. So those turn on the haunches, the quarter's just swinging out. She's she's not able to really prepare for those. They're very difficult at the best of times, but if you've got to be a little bit careful and the horse is a little bit against you, those are really tricky to set them up for that. But seems better in the walk now. Seems to be back with her a little bit more. And just the same happening on this side as well. And a lot of the riders in this grade with lower limb impairments, either missing or limited strength and power, and makes it really, really difficult to get the horse bending around your inside leg and to control the body, just to stop those quarters popping out and keep the activity. Some nice steps in that medium trot. Just showing that transition into the leg yield. A nice difference. And this 4-loop serpentine with walk transitions is one of the fiddliest movements to perform. Walk transitions straight over the centre line. 4 loops in this 20 by 40 arena, so a lot for the riders to think about, and very tricky when a horse is not fully with you. It really tests the responsiveness of the horse. You want the loops to be even, the bend to be even from side to side, the softness and relaxation into the walk, and the promptness and quick reaction, the horse in front of your leg for those trot transitions, and showing off the trot in between. There's so much to think about and so much to mark. A really nice finish there. Francesca doing a really good job trying to ride the horse through the tension and pick up those marks whenever she could. Just not quite as settled in here today, unfortunately for her, because this is a really nice partnership and the horse shows some real quality work.
And it's the scores of the best 3 riders of the team that will count in the team championship.
But she did a really super job to get that back, and when she could, just really pick those marks up and keep settling the horse. And big cheers from the Kiss and Cry box for the Italian rider. I think she might be a little bit disappointed with that, but you'll have to wait to see how this class plays out to see if she gets through for that freestyle final, for that chance to go for a second medal.
And the scores for Francesca Savadi and
the scores just coming through here.
Dr. Lee 68.971, Dr. Lee 70.735,
And the judge at E 68.971, H 70.735, C 67.059, M 67.353, and B 67.500, with a final total of 68.324, puts her currently into second place in this class. And the third score for Italy, So Federica to come in the grade 4 later today on Burberry, but another solid score for Italy, currently down as the drop score. So that takes their total of those two scores, the two highest scores are shown there, 149.75.
Please welcome from Finland individual rider in this second qualifier for the individual freestyle final is from Finland, Sanna Koskiluta and Vitona. They scored 64.941 in the first qualifier for the individual freestyle.
So, next into the arena, representing Finland, riding for as an individual here. So riding for those individual placings overall to try to finish as high up as possible there. Sanna Koskiluta, she rides the 18-year-old mare Liptona. She finished in 14th place in the individual on a score of 64.941. Sanna choosing to ride in that double bridle, so riders with the option, unfortunately having that break in that first medium. Oh, the horse just stumbling there, losing its balance after the medium, not quite having got it back, but managing to recover for that trot circle. And this sequence in the grade 3 really testing the horse's suppleness and straightness. So going from that right 10 metre circle onto that centre line, showing the straightness, then into that left 10 metre circle before turning right at sea. So coming up very quickly there and really testing the rider's ability to keep control of the body, keep the horse's alignment, show the suppleness through the circles and show that control after that left circle and maintaining the balance to go into that right rein, to go on to the right rein when you track right. So a lot of adjustability in these tests. The horse just anticipating, not quite staying with the rider, so we're seeing a few jog steps in this walk. I'm not sure if Sanna is asking for more activity in it and it's been misinterpreted, but unfortunately just a few expensive mistakes in this walk work. You can see just a little bit on his toes. Sanna trying hard there to get the attention back. And just not quite able to show the suppleness that some horses can in this class, and that 8 metre circle making that 8 metre circle feel quite difficult to turn around, and these walk pirouettes are also a challenge. Actually, Sanna managing to get the positioning and bend for some of that pirouette, and just the horse just stepping out a fraction at the end. And just unfortunately not closing up that halt. So from the side you should just see two legs, the front leg's been parallel and the back leg's been parallel, and standing square with the hind legs underneath and the front end up, so you get that uphill picture. So the horse steps forward into the halt, ready to move off. And when the balance is nicely and uphill, the horse can stand still without falling on the forehand or wanting to run off. And just struggling in that leg yield and with the rhythm in this trot at times. The horse just showing some few shorter strides at times. So you get that slight variation of rhythm. There's a block or the horse is out of balance. So nicer this way, easier into the leg yield. Just trailing the quarters towards the end, but an easier transition into it than she had on the other rein. And that final halt, and the horse showing nice immobility in that halt. And walking out on a loose rein, horse's ears pricked, just taking in the surroundings. Sana chose to ride with a friendly horse in this arena, so if you spotted a horse at the side of the arena during the test, riders have the option to have that horse at the side and give the horses confidence in the arena. And for some riders like to have that opportunity for their horse to be a friendly horse and get the horse in the arena for their teammate so they're able to experience the atmosphere before you actually take them in for a competition. So we saw one horse come in a few times for the Canadian team, so getting that horse in the arena and able to take in the atmosphere. The score's just coming through for Sana shortly. Judge at E, 62.794, H, 64.118, C, 63.088, M, 63.382, and B, 62.059. So a total of 63.088 goes into fourth place provisionally in this class. So just 5 riders left in this first group in the grade 3. One of which will be completing the final score for the United States of America. So we'll get their total score at the end of this first group. But first, we have riding for the French team, representing France, Chiara Zanatti. She rides the 16-year-old gelding, Swing Royale IFCE. She finished in 9th place in the individual earlier in the week on 68.853.
Tokyo ranked as number 6 on the FEI Pair Dressage World Individual Ranking for Grade 3. In the first qualifier, she got 68.85.
So she will be looking for that top 8 overall placings to give her a chance in the freestyle. But France also, with 3 really solid scores yesterday, so currently Anne's 70% is their low score, so if they need to use that, that is still a very nice score to be using, just taking the pressure off Chiara. So let's see if she can produce something higher, or if that will be France's total score. And this horse, a really nice, elegant mover. Chiara riding with that double split rein, riding one-handed due to her disability. So that right side being the weaker side with the leg as well. But showing really nice straightness on that centre line. For riders with an asymmetry, a disability that affects their asymmetry, can make it very difficult to keep the horse's alignment, to keep that straightness with one side being stronger than the other. But she does a really good job of maintaining that with this horse. Really experienced rider, been part of Paralympic team as well. So you can just see that the shoulders weren't really turning around the front enough there. She had the positioning, she had control of the body and control of the quarters, but the shoulders just not coming round. So riding in quite a big traverse circle there, just didn't have that turn from the shoulder that can make that turn smaller, so she got a little bit stuck in it, but kept the activity, kept the stepping. You can see her just positioning, getting that shoulder full position as she goes towards that turn. A little bit better this way. Doing a nice job of keeping that body in balance and keeping the steps. Very difficult riding that movement out of when you have a horse that has big movement. The horse just squaring up actually as she asked for the rein back. So I think if she had given that another second or two, the horse would have closed that halt up and she would have just got that extra mark for that. Just not quite getting as much parallel crossing in there. You just saw a very slight change in the rhythm there. And really nicely into that walk. So looking for that even placement. So the walk steps it evenly over the centre line. And Chiara just working hard there to pick the balance up a little bit. The horse just leaning a bit on the forehand going into that transition, and she just quickly gave a little check to set the horse back, getting that serpentine cleanly. That's a double coefficient on that movement, so it means the mark you get is multiplied by 2, so very expensive. It can either be a very expensive movement or a big hitter if you can perform it well, because you get that mark twice. Just stepping sideways into that final hole. So a really solid test for France, and it will be interesting to see if they stay with that score they had yesterday, or if Chiara can just add on a little bit once the collectives are added and those last few marks come forward.
So Team France is a team of 4 athletes and 1.
So they have that option for a drop score because they have those 4 riders going as part of the team. Only 3 scores counting for the team competition. And big pats as she comes out for the horse.
Never mind, I was trying to help and I made a mess of it.
And the score for Chiara Sanasi and Swing Royal. Dr. Lee 68.529, Dr. Lee 71.029, Dr. C 69.412.
And the scores should be coming up in just one moment. You can just see there in the leg yield, she just had a little bit of shoulder fall positioning, so not quite getting that parallel, better towards the end. So just these few moments that are adding up, but the judge at E 68.529, H 71.029, C 69.412, M 69.559 and B 70.441, so a final score of 69.794, and that is now the drop score. They stick with those first 3 scores from yesterday and a final total of 214.994. So France going into the lead now with that, the highest score of those teams with completed scores.
Is 240.994%.
So Spain had sat out in front after yesterday. Austria had 4 scores from yesterday, and they sat in front after that final score in the grade 1 on 213.755. Spain in second. So France going into the lead in the team competition provisionally. The first of the teams being completed today. So that's just changes things up a little bit. But as more scores come through later through the class, we will have more teams confirm score. So this will change the leaderboard as we go on. But a solid score for France. France not needing to sit in the top 7 for those qualified spaces for Paris, because they will, as the home nation, as the host nation, they will automatically get a team spot, but I'm sure they will be hoping for a strong performance here as they start to build that team for the Paris Paralympics, wanting to have a nice performance out there. So the Worlds a really important part of that, and with just the Europeans next year before those Paralympics.
Arena is from Portugal, it's Pedro Felix presenting EU. He's participating as an individual athlete outside the team competition.
So as this class moves on, things will start to get very, very interesting for this team competition. But next into the arena, riding as an individual, representing Portugal, we have Pedro Paletti Felix, riding the 11-year-old Grigio. to add the impulsion so much and use the leg to balance. So Pedro finished in 16th place in the individual on a score of 63.412. So for him it will be about trying to use this experience and build on that test and finish with as high an individual overall placing as possible. Unfortunately, just losing that balance there and on that circle. And that turn on the haunches better on that second half, just almost looked like the horse was going to step out, but doing a really good job of catching that and repositioning him for that second half. Keeping the activity. So really trying to ride into this. And a nice halt there. Really trying to ride forwards into that halt. Horse just backing off, and that another really tricky movement in this test. You really have to be quick at getting them in front of your leg into that medium trot and riding right to the very end. So it's a really complicated movement to ride in this short arena.
From Portugal,
Just not getting that last, the straightness and immobility in that last halt, but doing a really good job there just to try and keep the test as consistent as possible to pull those marks in. And a nice ride for Pedro for that individual. The horse not quite with as much suppleness as we would like to see, and that does make this test very difficult to ride, but Pedro doing his best to ride those movements as accurately as possible and try and maintain the rhythm within the paces, with the paces that the horse has to offer. So really riding what he's got underneath him.
scores for Pedro
The horse just backing off at times and holding a little, which holds the marks down. But some really nice moments and some really nice riding from him. So the score's just coming through for you now. Judge at E, 61.765, H, 61.765, C, 62.500, M, 63.529, and B, 60%. So a final score of 61.912, and that goes provisionally into 6th place at the moment. So fractionally lower than the score from the individual, but he's had a great experience here and a great ride in this World Championship environment. And we go back to the team competition with this next rider. So representing Poland is Dominic Ast. with 68.756. And Magdalena Sunset showing Sibylla with 65.5. 3 riders left to go in this group. Dominic, Emma for Australia, and then Rebecca to bring that final score for the USA. Poland already put forward 3 scores for the team, so this will be the final score to complete their total. With 2 riders going in the grade 4 yesterday and 1 rider in the grade 1. So we will have Poland's final score at the end of this test. So Dominic Ast riding for Poland on the 18-year-old mare Femme de Macho. Dominic finished in 17th place in the individual on 60.147. So he's really building on this individual performance already. Just managing to hold on to that balance, a little bit quick going from left to right, but just managing to catch the horse and help the balance there, but going around the corner just losing it a little bit. Really important to make sure the horse is in balance for these turns. And really nice turn on the haunches there. So very good positioning going into it, nice steps, just a tiny, tiny loss of balance right at the end, but that last step, but a very, very tiny detail there. And the horse, and this movement is really challenging because the horses on that small circle almost anticipate that turn on the haunches again after having just done that. Yeah, good, just keep, yeah, really just kept that positioning, kept that activity. Almost went a little bit small, but he use that inside leg and whip on that left side just to pick the horse up on that side and ask her to keep stepping. So very, very well caught there. Just not quite square and just a little bit resisting going into that hole. You can just see the mouth opening a little bit as he asked to go back there. You really need the softness and acceptance to be able to get that rein back. Just showing a little bit too much bend and neck bend, and we just saw the horse not quite getting that parallel and crossing that we've seen from some of the higher scoring movements, and then arriving at the track a little bit before the corner marker where the energy has just gone out through that outside shoulder. So the judge is looking for that transition on that EB line and then to reach the track at that corner marker so that you keep the horse in a nice balance. And the horse doesn't fall to the track. So nice on that 3/4 line. You can just see a little bit too much quarters there. So the quarters just swung out and led in that leg yield. And the horse should be parallel with the edge of the arena. And into a nice hold so that the view from the judge at sea there will really see the straightness on that. But I think that will be a nice improvement on the individual test. And big smiles, big sigh of relief there. It's already fairly warm here, so they're really turning up the heat in this competition, both literally and figuratively. And some really well presented moments here. The horse just showing a little bit, you can see the mouth opening and a bit of resistance, but he managed to position that nicely, kept the activity. And we should have the scores through for you in one moment. And I think it will be an improvement on his individual test. Here we have them. Judge at E, 64.118, H, 63.971, C, 62.206, M, 64.853, and B, 63.382, with a final total of 63.706. The final score for Poland there, so they currently sit in third. That final total of 198.033. That first score being the drop score, that's 63% at the top, competing yesterday. But a really nice improvement on the individual. You can see the big thumbs up, very, very pleased, and over 3% improvement from the individual just 2 days ago. And as riders, that's what we aim to do, just try to get better each time we come in the arena, and to manage to do that at the World Championships is really positive, really nice for all riders to be able to ride twice here, at least, whether they're part of a team or not. So Dominic obviously is part of Poland, but those coming forward riding as individuals. It's really nice that they get these 2 opportunities in the arena, and the qualification is based on 2 tests, so they have a chance to really build on the first day, and even if they don't manage to qualify through for the freestyle, they get 2 opportunities to ride in this arena and progress with their performance. It takes so much effort and so much work behind the scenes to get these riders and horses out here. You really want to maximise their opportunities to ride and to compete, so really nice to see that in play in this competition here. And riders like Dominic improving through the competition. But next into the arena, and riding for a team, riding for Australia. So Australia originally not intending to send a team here to this championships, and changing that decision. Really nice to see the governing body changing their mind on that, as the riders and public really got behind them being here and having this experience. This is Emma Booth. She rides the 9-year-old stallion First Deluxe. And Emma's had some really nice scores on this horse and wow, look at that. Look at the steps shown in this medium trot. This horse so expressive, and you can see how she's had some good scores to get that minimum eligibility requirement to qualify to compete here. She finished in 6th in the individual on 70.765, so we'll be looking to build on that here. All 3 scores counting for Australia deciding to change their mind and bring a team, but only to send 3 riders forward. So Amelia White being the reserve. So unfortunately not able to compete here, but 3 riders sent forward, so all 3 scores will count. They don't have the opportunity for that drop score. And you can see the horse just in this walk section dropping a little bit down in the pole and just dropping, unfortunately, a bit behind Emma, sticking in that turn on the haunches. So Emma not able to use her lower leg to keep this horse in front of her. So really relying on her voice aids, her weight aids to drive that walk forwards. And that's a very difficult movement to perform, that turn on the haunches, when you have a big moving scopy horse, but the horse goes a little bit slow in the activity and just sits a bit behind you, and that's where you saw the sticking on that first one. So really pulled the marks in with the trot work and the expression there. And again, Emma just trying to ride that a little bit quicker to try and avoid the sticking, but then unfortunately the horse just swinging the quarters out where she hasn't got the leg aid to support the quarters and protect that side. So trying to compromise a little and keep the stepping, but unfortunately then having a different problem. And not quite getting the square halt that she would hope for, but quickly up into the trot. And you can see just sometimes after that walk section, for riders that don't quite have the leg to keep the horse in front of you in that walk section, the horses can just drop off you and switch off a little bit as you then go into the trot. And Emma using the trot to get the activity back. This horse really super temperament, really relaxed, and Emma's just using the trot work to then get the energy back. And a nice transition there into trot. You just saw the horse accept that new inside bend, really nicely move into trot. And this is a really new combination here. Just together earlier this year, and the horse very quickly adapting to Emma's aids. So previously ridden by Mari Tomkinson, who owns the horse, and allowing Emma to ride this lovely horse and supporting her world's journey. And you can see absolute moments of brilliance with them as a partnership. And this competition will be a very, very important part of consolidating that partnership as they learn more about each other. And a really solid finish. Big, big pats for this horse.
The team of Australia, the team of 3 participants.
A really nice combination and a very exciting combination. I really hope that they've enjoyed this journey with Emma, and she continues to ride this horse. Has been moving over to Germany to ride this horse and train, and really put a lot into this World Championship campaign. And just look at some of the steps there. This horse so scopy, so accepting. Just really is adjusting to those new aids and getting to learn more about each other. And that takes time. Coming here just a few months into the partnership to compete at a World Championship is a massive, massive deal. And Emma and this horse putting in so far 2 very solid performances. So she'll be hoping to put together a solid score for that team event and also get that qualifying spot into the freestyle for her individually. So the score, Emma breathing a big sigh of relief. Judge at E, 72.206, H, 72.794, C, 70.588, M, 69.559, and B, 69.853, with a total score of 71%, puts her into second place provisionally. And another score for Australia. Lisa Martin coming forward in the grade 5 later puts them on a score of 139.439. So no drop score for Australia, all scores counting. A really, really exciting and promising partnership there. Really enjoyed watching their journey this year and coming here to deliver 2 really solid performances. And the final rider in this first group in the grade 3 will be the last score for the United States of America. So another very interesting one to watch from a team perspective.
So the team of the United States of America, the team of 4 now bringing forward
Australia with just those 3 scores, but the USA have those 4 riders, so they do have the option for the drop score. And they so far have 3 very good scores from yesterday. So the pressure is not really on Rebecca from a team perspective, but she does have the potential to boost this team score, currently sitting on 223.864. She will be hoping to boost that a little further. She won the bronze medal in the individual just a couple of days ago with a score of 73.147.
Team United States, they already presented Kate Schumacher and Kiana with 75.1415. Beatrice de Lavalette at 6.
So this will be really, really interesting
Roxanne Fennell with Fortunato H2O with 75.21.
to see what Rebecca can do and where that puts the team after this final score for them. So entering the arena for USA, Rebecca Hart, riding the 13-year-old gelding El Corona Texel. And a very nice start. Rebecca rode a very, very nice test in the individual, full of impulsion. This horse, very expressive. You can just see there some nice steps in the medium. This horse can really open up. Really expressive horse. Just needs to keep him up in the pole to keep that nice uphill picture, which she's doing now. And a little bit of better bending this way. On the right circle, we just saw a tiny bit of tilting. So the right side being Rebecca's slightly weaker side. So having to work hard to pick that right side up. Doing a nice job with that change of balance from left circle to the right rein. Showing really nice rhythm in this walk. Just sitting the horse back. Yeah, really cleverly ridden turn on the haunches there. Just riding forward as she went into it. And some nice stretch here. Rebecca needing to lean forwards. She struggles to get the reins back. Horse just coming back at her fraction as she turns onto the circle. Again, just sometimes they are anticipating that turn on the haunches after doing it just before the free walk. So she's really working hard to try and not to disrupt the rhythm. Just a little bit slightly stepping out this way, but she manages to keep the activity. And again, sometimes the momentum in the trot really helps to keep these horses' attention and keep them in front of the rider. And when you have this walk section with a lot of asking them to come back for the turns, they can just sometimes back off and drop the rider a little bit, but nicely into And a super, super halt to finish.
USA.
Very, very nice test there from Rebecca. The horse stands still as she pats him. Cheers from the audience.
Last to go for Team USA.
Really, really big smiles. Rebecca, lovely rider.
Strong test from
Very
Rebecca
experienced
Hart.
athlete.
Corona, Texas.
And big, big pats for this horse. This partnership, a really strong partnership. They've been together for a number of years. Know each other really well, but really looking on good form this week. And the current lowest score for the United States is 73.235. So Rebecca will have to be higher than that to change their total. I think it might just do that. It's going to be very, very close.
Jottery 76.471, Jottery 75.147, Jottery 73.529, Jottery 74.559.
I think she might. She should get some really nice collectives for that test. So just waiting for those final marks to come through.
USA and Rebecca Hart with El Corona, Texas.
And she has a massive score for Rebecca. Judge at E, 76.471. H, 75.147. C, 73.529. M, 74.559. And B, 73.824. So a massive final score of 74.706 for the United States of America. A fantastic score for them and a fantastic score for Rebecca as an individual. Really, really boding well for her going through to that final freestyle tomorrow. So here are the current standings after that first group. Rebecca sitting out in front on that huge score she's just posted. Denmark's in second with Carla 73.294 and Emma Booth for Australia sitting in third on 71. We just have a second group to come in this grade 3, but the competition really, really heating up. We have a short break, but we will be back at 12:41.
bricks have been the world's premier building material. They're natural, beautiful, and sustainable. But most of all, they are made to last forever. Danish brickmakers since 1750.
Safety means a lot to me. I ride younger horses every single day, and it's just important for me to stay safe, both on the younger horses, but also on the older one I work at work on. And it is really the last thing I put on every single day before I get on the horse, and it's just not uniform. When I start riding, I just really want to have fun. I love riding with these fantastic horses every single day, and I really love my job. But to be able to feel confident enough and safe enough when I go up, then it's just really important that my gear is top, and then I can enjoy the ride. I'm Captain before, we have a Dressage rider, ranked second in the world, and I trust Sam Shelby with my side.
I hit my shin on that one 2 days ago, and I was like, I'm trying to throw it.
Wilson Horse presents a new family member, Wilson ECCO. With the same personality, but exciting new performance, we created the next side of victory. Discover our eye for spectacular design, integrating sustainability and high-tech innovation. Because it's all in the details.
How do I help you?
No, just telling you that's why I stopped right in front
Oh,
of you.
no, that's fine.
Okay.
If you need something, just let me know.
You didn't want to
Yeah.
pressure on it?
Yeah.
Ah, yeah, I made it. So must not be drinking it.
Sometimes I think of the moments that define us, that make us who we are today. When you make your first friends,
No, I said you want
your future best friends,
the formal
the ones you share everything with. When you learn about responsibility and what it actually means to take care of others. When you encounter obstacles, get your heart going. When you make your own goals and your own dreams. Go your own way. Travel all over the world. Maybe you'll start a family of your own one day. And then suddenly, your moments will be about someone else. So don't know. I'm happy just to be with you in this moment. The others can wait.
So welcome back in the BB Horse Arena. In a few minutes we will start up again in the Orifarm Healthcare FEI World Para-Dressage Team Championship for Grade 3, presented by Dressage. And now we are beginning to see the potential podium for the team competition. Teams already done is Australia with a total score of 213.755. The team from Spain, 188.143. The team from France with 214.994. The team from Poland with 198.033. And the team from the United States of America in the lead with 225.335 in total score. But still 8 athletes to go, and a lot can happen still, and of course not all teams will be finalized in this competition because we are also going to have a level 5 athletes in the arena later today, and then we know who gets the gold, who gets the silver, and who gets the bronze.
And welcome back for this second group of Grade 3 riders for this team competition. Norway, the first rider in after the break. In this last group, we have some very interesting riders from a team perspective. Britain, Belgium, Denmark and the Netherlands, all with riders competing, those last 4 riders. So they will be very interesting scores for the team. But so far, Rebecca Hart has put in a phenomenal test to sit at the top of the leaderboard. A massive score for the USA, 74.706. Carla Diem Young, the first of the 2 Danish riders, sits in second, 73.294%. And Emma Booth sits in third for Australia, 71%. But next into the arena, this last group of 8 riders in this Grade 3 class. Representing Norway, Anne-Catherine Lube. She rides the 11-year-old gelding La Costa Meilund. So riding for a team score for Norway, but also riding for that top 8 finish individually. So scores from this team competition today combined with the results from the individual competition earlier in the week to get the top 8 riders that will go forward for the freestyle competition tomorrow. And a very experienced competitor finished 11th in the individual competition on 66.618. The horse just a little bit on his toes as he came into the arena today, so a little bit of tension just holding the marks down for her, but Anne doing a really good job of riding through. Riding through those movements, trying to pull those marks in where she can. Just saw that slight pivot with the inside hind on that turn on the haunches. So this Grade 3 class, just walk and trot only. We're introducing the trot leg yield and walk pirouettes. Keeping a nice rhythm here. This walk really helping this horse to just settle and take a breather. But just sticking with that outside hind this time. You can just see the horse pivoting round rather than picking up and taking those active steps. With some horses that are a little bit more laid back, this walk section can just get them to switch off a little bit, and really asking the horse to collect for the turn on the haunches can sometimes make it difficult for the rider to keep the horse in front of them. But for some of the hotter horses, it can be a bit of a breather and just let them take a bit of breath before coming up into this trot. Showing some nice steps, but the horse you can just see that bit of resistance there in the contact, the horse opening its mouth and seeing the tongue come out just at the side. Moving nicely into that leg yield, really just trying to ride through these movements as best she can and pick up the marks where possible. The horse just needing to settle in that contact, just relax a bit, but again you just see that slight resistance as she comes into that walk transition in this serpentine. This 4-loop serpentine in a 20 by 40 really does come up very quickly with these walk transitions over the centre line. So much to think about, so many adjustments to make with the horse. Really doesn't give the horse that much opportunity to settle into a rhythm, which when you have a horse with a little bit anxiety or a little bit of tension, that makes it really difficult to show that as nicely as you would want to.
From Norway.
And Anne doing a really good job of riding that horse through these movements.
Team of Norway.
Unfortunately not quite settling to show the higher marks in this test, but still pulling in those marks whenever she had the chance to. Just that bit of resistance will hold back from some of the bigger marks that we could see. Some really nice quality in the horse when he settles. You can just see that the horse just sticking, not quite. You want the horse to bend in the body around that inside leg and pick up the feet to keep in that walk rhythm, keep the stepping, keep the activity. And didn't quite get that today, unfortunately.
Dr. 67.353, Dr. 64.265, Dr. 63.235, Dr. 64.412, Dr.
And the scores for Anne just coming through shortly. She gives the crowd a wave. Judge at E, 67.353, H, 64.265, C, 63.235, M, 64.412, B, 65.735 with a final score of 65%. So the third score for Norway there, just highlighted as the current drop score. Stina Skilbeck still to come in the grade 5 later. So the judges from this class, the judges staying the same across all the classes for this team championship, just to try and get as much consistency as possible for these team scores. Jeanette Wolfs from the Netherlands, Shell Meyer from Norway, Christy Wysocki from the USA, John Robinson from Great Britain, and Suzanne Cunningham from Australia. So really, really long days for these judges, but very important just to try and get the consistency of the results across the grades. So riders making up this team competition from a variety of grades, with a maximum of 2 riders from each grade allowed per nation. And nations must have a grade 1, 2 or 3 as part of the team. So some nations having riders that competed yesterday in the 4s, 2s and 1s, and some competing today to make up that team of 4. So the judges having to judge across the 2 days to try and get those consistency in the results. But next, into the arena, representing Ireland, Kate Kerr-Horan, riding the 11-year-old mare Serafina T. So Kate finished 13th in the individual on 66.294. We'll be looking to try and build on that for her qualification through into the freestyle to try and get into that top 8. And a nice halt to start, just a little bit slow to get into that trot. Judges looking for that direct transition from halt into trot. And the horse not showing the biggest difference in that first medium, but Kate riding a really nice rhythm through these trot circles onto that centre line, looking for the change of bend, the straightness on the centre line, the balance and the change into new bend here, which she does really nicely there. Just needing to pick that right side up a little bit more into the corner just to get that new bend, but Kate riding in a really nice balanced way. It's a very, very tight movement there, going from that left semicircle down the centre line, tracking right. That doesn't leave much space at all to pick that right side up into the new bend. Just stepping out a little bit on that turn on the haunches with that left hind. Not quite keeping that nice rhythm that we're looking for. Showing good stretch here on this circle, this half 20-metre circle with the free walk, and then quickly going into this 8-metre circle. So a nice transition there from the free walk into the medium walk. Kate leaning forward to allow the rein, and then just needing to bring her body weight back for the medium walk, so the horse stayed in a nice connection. You just see here the horse stepping out with the quarters, so Kate just picking the horse up with that right leg to try and regain control of the right side of the body. Some really nice steps in this walk. Into a nice halt in front, just not quite square behind. And not quite having the horse as through as she would like. The horse just looking up. That top corner looks out over the trade stands and shopping village, and the horse just getting a bit distracted. And losing that rhythm a little bit in the middle of the medium trot. But nicely back into a good trot rhythm. And that trot movement with the trot on the 3/4 line, and then on that E to B line you're looking for that clean transition as you ask the horse to move into the leg yield. That parallel to the side of the arena with a slight inside flexion and to show the good crossing and then arriving at the arena just for that corner marker. So really looking at the accuracy of it, the suppleness, the straightness and the crossing, really keeping control of the horse's alignment. So we'll see this again here for the leg yield. And you can see Kate just positioning a little bit too much shoulder forward positioning, so going into it with the quarters leading and then the shoulders almost overtaking it a little bit. But showing nice rhythm there within it. Nice acceptance of the leg. And into a very nice final halt there. A super consistent ride there for Kate. I think she'll be very happy with that. A nice improvement on her individual test. And just looking to move up the rankings for that top 8 finish. Ireland with a very, very good score yesterday in the Grade 1 from Michael Murphy, and that consistent test from Rosemary in the Grade 4. So another good test there for Ireland. They have 4 riders competing here, so do have the option for that drop score. Tamsin coming later in the Grade 5.
So Team Ireland, a team of 4 athletes and Kate Kerr-Horan. The third athlete to go the ranks. Jocelyn 68.382, Jocelyn 72.294, Jocelyn 72.206.
So the scores just coming through from the judges.
The total score 69.824% for Team Ireland and Kate Kerr-Horan with Sarah.
And here they are, judge at E 68.382, H 70.294, C 72.206, M 68.971 and B 69.265. So that's a final score of 69.824% for Kate, putting her provisionally into 4th place in this class individually. And a 3rd score for Ireland, Rosemary Gaffney, currently the drop score at the top there on 67.975. And they will wait to see, that currently puts them on a score of 145. With Tamsin, the last rider to go in the Grade 5 later on today. So Kate really hoping to move up that leaderboard individually. The scores from the team competition today being combined with the individual competition earlier in the week to find that top 8 combinations per grade to go through for the freestyle final tomorrow, and a chance to ride for a second medal opportunity.
So next, the team from Japan will bring forward their final athlete for the team competition. We already saw Katsushi Takashima and Suzette PH with 65.
And the next rider forward in the arena in this Grade 3 will be riding for Japan in this team competition. So Japan already have 3 scores from yesterday. So show their last score. That 4th score. 4 riders, they also have the drop score with 3 scores counting. So that just takes the pressure off these riders a little bit. So if one rider has some problems or the horse isn't settled, you do have that option for that rider to be the drop score, as opposed to the teams with just 3 scores, with 3 riders with every score counting.
So we have the 4th participant for Team Japan now entering the BP Horse Arena. Please welcome Joe Inaba and exclusive.
So just waiting for this next rider to come into the arena. Some highlights from the first group, and they're the first rider to go in the second group in this class, but the next rider into the arena representing Japan, Sho Inaba, rides the 13-year-old gelding exclusive KWPN. And Sho finished in 15th place in the individual on a score of 64.735. So we'll be hoping to build on that in this test today. Japan putting a lot of time and effort and resources into developing their team of riders and horses in the build up to Tokyo last year, and this horse going into a really nice square halt there, just unfortunately not quite getting the immobility. The horse keen to move off, so Sho really tactfully going with that rather than disrupting the halt and trying to make him stand. So we really have to go with what we're feeling as riders and make these decisions as to whether we're going to try and make the point there and we can make it better, or we just have to ride with what we have. And I think that was definitely the right call for Sho. The horse just backing off on that circle and coming back at him a little bit, which is where you saw those slightly higher steps working more towards passage, and the horse clearly a little bit on his toes and feeling a little bit of anxiety and coming back at Sho a tiny bit, and he really tactfully rode through that, keeping the rhythm, not getting after the horse, not disturbing the rhythm and the softness too much, just really encouraging the horse to take that bigger stride, and then he got that nicer work on the centre line. So really quietly encouraging the horse to step forwards and very well recovered there. The horse just took one step out, just pushing out in the hindquarters. Again, just coming back at Sho a tiny bit, and he just really encouraged the horse to step forwards and use that left side to get control of the left side of the horse's body, and got a much nicer second half of that turn on the haunches, getting the positioning better and keeping those steps. So you can see here that circle 8 metres, so should finish 2 metres inside the centre line. And really just trying to ride, the horse just sticking and pivoting there. He was really trying to ride, encourage the horse forwards and in a positive way, but that horse just coming back and sticking there in that turn on the haunches, so unfortunately that will be expensive. And a good square halt. You can just see the bit of tension the horse has just as he went into it, not quite settled. You can hear the sneezes, managing to hold it together. Some nice steps there, just very tactfully riding through this horse and that bit of tension. Very difficult, and just the horse falling through the shoulders a little bit to the track, so you saw him arrive at the track much not far after B, going into the leg yield on that EB line and looking to arrive at M, just before M, to show the control in the body. And this movement, a very difficult movement when you have a horse that's feeling tense. That horse doesn't really have much chance to settle into any rhythm. There's constant adjustments, constant transitions through the walk. There's 4-loop serpentine with walk transitions over the centre line. Show very sensitively riding through there. And again, you can feel the tension just going into that, just asking for that leg yield, and the horse just not quite thinking forwards and having that positive reaction to it, just coming back at show and losing the energy through the shoulder, getting too much neck bend there. Almost a very nice halt to finish. The horse just that tension coming through and stepping sideways, and such a shame because this partnership can show some real quality work, and the horse has so much scope, but just a bit too much tension in this test to be able to really highlight that. And Show doing a really nice job of staying calm, managing that tension, really encouraging the horse in a positive way at every opportunity, really doing his best to give that horse a positive ride and not letting the occasion get to the better of him, and just really coaxing the horse through the test and riding that in a mature way. Some really nice riding from Show there, and we should just have the scores through for you in a moment. Judge at E 62.206, H 61.176, C 61.324, M 61.912, and B 59.853. with a final total of 61.294. So that will be a counting score for Japan, a total of 190.492. That score 53 highlighted as the drop score, so that is now their final score as a team, with that last rider completing the team score. And this last group of riders completing the grade 3, just 5 riders to go. But next into the arena, representing Canada and riding for the team, Roberta Sheffield rides the 13-year-old gelding Feruza. 13-year-old mare, apologies. Roberta really fond of this horse. They've got such a nice partnership. She's been travelling around Europe, UK based, competed at a number of the internationals abroad this year just to get herself in front of these judges and really build on this performance, and a very nice square halt to start. And it's been paying off for her with some very good scores internationally. She finished 5th in the individual on 70.882. So we'll be looking to try to stay in that top 8 for a place in the freestyle, as well as putting forward a score for Canada. Canada with just 3 riders here, so every score counting. And doing a good job to show that change of bend. This horse can sometimes come a little bit tight and short in the neck, but keeping a good rhythm in the trot. And here just allowing that head and neck out a little bit, trying to encourage that relaxation as she puts her on this 8-metre circle. Trying to use that body bend just to get into her a little bit before coming into this turn on the haunches. And you get that first stride, taking a big stride and just stepping out, not quite keeping the balance in the right place, but keeping the steps moving. Roberta choosing to lean forward for the free walk. She does ride with normal reins, so could allow the reins to slip forward if she wanted to do that, but sometimes it can be difficult to get the reins back and quickly enough in time for that circle, so some riders choosing to lean forwards to keep that connection a little bit better for the horse. And again, just that first step not being quite under control and underneath the horse, so a better second half, but not quite getting control of the turn on the haunches going into it. And again, just not quite getting the throughness and softness going into that halt, so you just saw the horse take a step backwards where it wasn't quite on the seat. She wasn't quite listening to that seat and going from the rein a little bit on the forehand, so just stepping back and then it affecting the rein back as well. And moving nicely into that leg yield, you saw that clear moment where she moved from the 3/4 line and the horse really softened to that left leg, really accepting that yielding movement. And you're just looking for the horse to just soften and lengthen a little bit into that walk transition, just relax into the walk, just a little bit, that moment of tension, and then Bert's able to let the rein out and let the walk out a little bit, but just that first stride as she asked for the transition. But cleanly through that serpentine, a double coefficient, that movement, so that mark is multiplied by 2. And again, nicely into that leg yield. You're looking for that clear moment where they move from the straightness of the 3/4 line into that leg yield. And then this final turn onto the centre line for that final halt. And another good halt to finish, and a big smile from Roberta. A really nice, harmonious partnership to watch. Big, big pats for this horse. This horse missed out on Hartbury International in July due to not being fit to compete, unfortunately been unwell just before, and quite some scary moments for Roberta, I'm sure, but back and fit and competing here, so I'm sure that is the main thing for this competition, and that qualification for the freestyle would be the icing on the cake for her as well. So just waiting for those scores to come through, with just 4 riders to go in this class. And here they are, Georgia E, 68.676, H, 70, C, 68.088, M, 70.588, and B, 70.441, and a final score of 69.559, and a 6th place individually at this point in the class. So the final score for Canada, they finish on 203.452. into 4th place at the moment, all 3 scores counting, so without the option of a drop score, with only 3 riders. And we have 4 riders to go in this class, and all 4 of them could be very influential from a team medal position, and also from that qualification for Paris, those top 7 teams qualifying through for the Paris Paralympic Games in 2024. This competition, the first qualifying opportunity for these riders. And next into the arena, representing Great Britain, a member of the gold medal winning team, this combination, at the Tokyo Paralympics last year. Britain had 2 riders competing yesterday, Natasha and Sophie Wells, to go forward later in the grade 5 today. But first, into the arena, Natasha Baker. She rides the 11-year-old mare by DiMaggio, Keystone Dawn Chorus. Natasha won the silver medal in the individual competition just 2 days ago. So Lee and Georgia competed yesterday in the grade 2. And a very anxious wait to see what Tash can do today. After Holland produced 2 massive scores yesterday, another great 2 scores from Denmark, and USA putting forward a very solid total as well. Tash just not quite getting the start she would have hoped for, not quite getting that square hole, and Lottie just taking a step forward in that halt as well, so looking to pick these marks up. Just that slight loss of rhythm there in the medium trot. Tash getting it back for this trot circle. And Lottie, as she's known at home, was a little bit on her toes in the individual, so Tash having to ride very carefully. A really nice bend from left to right there on that circle. This is a very different atmosphere than in Tokyo. Everything is a lot closer, a lot busier from a visitor point of view and spectators. And nicely through that walk and turn on the haunches. Lottie just having a little look, Tash just trying to settle her down. And she's only competed very lightly this year. Took a bit of time out after Tokyo and got married in the summer. But very experienced. It's gone very quiet in the arena as we wait for this, and unfortunately just sticking that outside hand, just not keeping the activity. Tash being really cautious here, really sitting quietly and trying to keep the rhythm through this walk. And good girl, just closing up behind for that square halt. Tash just waiting for that immobility before moving into the rein back. Some nice steps here, better rhythm, managing to maintain the balance in this second medium trot. Just not quite getting the crossing that we usually see. The horse just holding herself a little bit, but Tash keeping the rhythm through that. And again, nicely into this serpentine. You can just see the horse stepping through into that walk transition, able to show that walk off. Just a slight loss of balance that first stride, but very quickly back into that big walk. And just quarters trailing a little bit in that leg yield. Just saw the shoulders, the energy going through the shoulders a little bit, not quite having that parallel with the track or the leg yield that they'll look for the big marks. But again, keeping nice rhythm, really riding that rhythmic trot to pull those marks in. And yeah, really nicely, just the horse just halted a little bit wide behind and then closed up to get that nice halt and immobility to finish, and a very tactful job Tash did there to ride Lottie through that. Really trying to pull in those marks and just settle the horse through the work there. Pull those marks in where she could, and big cheers from the British team. Marking a job well done. And the marks just coming through in a moment for Tash. We should have them just on the screen here. Judge at E, 73.382, H, 73.382, C, 72.794, M, 74.118, and B, 74.118. 74.706, so a final score of 73.676, and you can see there the two scores from Georgia and Lee. A total of 147.205, with Lee and Tash's score. Georgia's score currently down as the lowest. So the computer automatically calculating that drop score in. And Sophie Wells still to come in the grade 5 competition. So they took the gold medal in Tokyo on a score of 229.905. Lee and Tash both having very tricky rides and having to work quite hard to do a good job of riding through those tests and really pulling out the marks where they could. So Sophie will be the final rider for Great Britain in the grade 5 later on. Holland and Denmark really laying down some massive scores, as have the USA. So I think it will be very, very tight at the top, looking at those top 3 teams for the medals. And Sophie riding in the grade 5 later, so we will see what she can put forward for the final score for the team.
For Team Belgium, we already saw Amanda Place performing 72.878.
And next into the arena, representing Belgium, Barbara Minetti. She rides the 13-year-old gelding Stuart.
She's a 3-time Paralympic athlete and double bronze medalist at the 2019 European Championship in Rotterdam. And FEI World because he came participant in 2018.
Belgium with a few riders still to go today. So they had Manon Clays in the grade 4 yesterday, and the remaining 3 riders riding in the grade 3 with Barbara, and 2 in the grade 5 later on with Kevin and Michelle. So just 1 score for Belgium at the moment, 72.878. So Barbara will be looking to add to that. And also riding towards that top 8 finish individually to qualify through for the freestyle. She finished 10th in the individual on 68.824%. So looking to try to move up the rankings. The scores from this team competition being combined with the individual 2 days earlier. Showing some really nice strides in that medium trot. And a very good start for Barbara. Barbara told me that she used to ride, she's always ridden side saddle as long as I had known her, and she said her dream was always to ride astride. And Stuart has been the horse that has enabled her to do that. And she's had some really nice success with him as well. And he just looks so confident in this arena with him. You feel like he's really with her. Really not being affected by this atmosphere here today. Just taking the contact down for this stretch, lengthening that frame. And you could just see that quarters slightly moving to the inside. That the horses often, after doing that turn on the haunches on the other rein, they sometimes can anticipate that turn on the haunches again. Barbara doing a really nice job of managing that and really nicely positioning into that walk pirouette, keeping that positioning in the bend around the inside leg and keeping the activity. You want that 4-beat walk rhythm. Not quite square in the halt, but showing some nice steps in the rein back. And nicely into the trot and some difference here in the medium. The horse really picking up coming out of the corner. Yeah, and you can see Barbara not quite showing that precise moment on that EB line where she moves into leg yield. The horse drifting a little bit, anticipating that leg yield a little bit earlier, and Barbara going with it. And sometimes the horses anticipate the leg yield, and it's a big decision if you can't catch them quickly enough to keep the straightness by correcting them and then asking for the leg yield again. You disrupt the rhythm and almost risk not getting the leg yield after that as well. So Barbara just choosing to go with it and to not disrupt the rhythm and to keep the harmony a little bit, but not quite getting the accuracy and the precision that some of the higher scorers will get. Yeah, much better this way. You could just see that clear moment. And the horse just not quite getting the immobility behind, just adjusting himself, but very nice in front. And a really good positive test from Barbara. The horse just so willing with her, and always a really nice partnership to watch. Big pats, big pats, just walking out on a loose rein, very, very relaxed and happy in this arena. She says, well done, Stuart, and big cheers from the Belgian supporters as well. A really good job, well done. Belgium with Michelle George and Kevin Van Ham later to come in the grade 5 for the team. But Barbara looking to try and get that top 8 result individually for her to move through into the freestyle.
A total score of 69.176.
And the score's just coming through for you now. Judge at E, 70.882, H 70.294, C 67.941, M 69.118, and B 67.647. So a total score of 69.176. So currently highlighted as the drop score, as the lower of the 2 scores so far, but 2 scores left to go. And Belgium with that team of 4, so they will have that drop score. They do have that option for the lowest of the 4 scores, just 3 scores to count for this team competition. So those teams with just 3 riders, every score will count, but the teams with 4 having the opportunity for that drop score.
For participants in the team of Denmark, next to go. So Denmark presenting their third.
So just 2 riders left to go in this grade 3 class, and this next one likely to be highly influential from an individual and a team perspective. The newly crowned world champion, the current European champion, the current Paralympic champion, riding for Denmark, Tobias Thorny Jorgensen rides the 14-year-old mare Jolene Hill and posted a massive score to win the individual 2 days ago. Riding in front of this home crowd here in Denmark. A score of 78.676 in the individual. Carla competed earlier in this class, put forward another good score, 73.294. And Katrine Christensen posted 77.176 in the grade 2 yesterday. This lovely mare showing some really nice trot work here, and this test really highlights her suppleness, her elasticity. Tobias being really clever with the balance and keeping her in the right place to really show her off. And at times this horse very, very scopy. He's just being very careful to give her the space in the neck. Sometimes with a walk so big, they can almost move towards the more of a lose that 4-time beat, but Tobias really keeping that through these walk movements and really pulling the marks. Really getting that nice over track. And you can see him just there using that lower leg to control the quarters, keep the positioning, keep the activity with the inside leg, just little niggles with the leg just to keep that positioning and the activity. And a good halt there. You just saw with that left hind, the horse stepped very, very fractionally back into it to square up, but that nice balance back very quickly, and Tobias managing that really well to keep her in that right place. And this lovely swinging trot just stays in such a nice frame, such a nice connection, taking the contact out. cleanly through this walk transition, you can see him just establishing that new right bend for the turn. With that inside leg, the horse just bending around the leg. Her ears flopping from back to front, listening to Tobias, really staying with him. This environment is no problem for her. Really moving consistently through the test, keeping the harmony. Tobias sits really nicely on this horse, making it a very, very nice picture. And just stepping a little bit to the right with the quarters, taking its time to establish the halt, but what a test. This horse, just such quality. Big, big cheers from the Danish crowd. Such a nice rider, such a lovely horse. Makes a really, really nice partnership here. And this is going to be very helpful for Denmark. Every time he comes into the arena, you know this combination will deliver. They are so consistent. This horse, such a lovely attitude, such impressive paces. And just such a partnership. And the scores will come through in a moment, but they are going to be very good for the team. And it's a massive score. Judge at E, 78.529, H, 80.147, C, 79.265, M, 79.265, and B, 79.118. So a huge, huge score of 79.265 and a total of 156.441 with those two counting scores. But those three great scores already put for that 73% not currently counted on the leaderboard. But Denmark already with a very, very good score. With Nicole left to come in the grade 5. We expect this of Tobias, but every time he just comes through with this horse. A massive, massive score to go into the lead individually in this grade 3 class. And I don't think Tobias needs to worry about that top 8 qualification, because no one can touch him in this grade 3 class. He is just so consistent with it, bringing in such high scores. Wow, what a grade 3 class and what a team competition this is turning out to be. So after some quick calculations, with just one rider to go, it looks like Denmark already sit on a massive score of 229.735, just 0.2% behind the winning score in Tokyo. So a huge team score already with one rider to go and really taking the pressure off Nicole. But what a test and what a combination. that has just propelled Denmark into a very strong place. And the last rider to go in this grade 3 class, another very important combination from a team perspective. The Netherlands posting 2 very impressive scores from the grade 4 yesterday from Demi and Sanna. Frank will ride later in the grade 5. But the third rider to go for the Netherlands, Lottie Crinson, riding the 16-year-old mare Rosenstolz.
So now, from Team Netherlands, Lotte Crinson and Rosenstolz.
She finished in 7th place yesterday on a score of 70.735. So an important score for the team, but also very important for her to stay in that top 8 for that qualification through to the freestyle tomorrow, and unfortunately not quite getting the start she would have wanted with that halt, just a little unsettled, but up into this impressive trot work, looking to pull back the marks, and a very nice medium trot. Some really nice steps in that medium. The horse just a little bit unsettled coming in, a little bit on her toes. But Lotte doing a nice job of riding her through this. So again, that showing that nice straightness on that centre line, looking for that new bend going into this left trot circle. And you can see the horse just at times not quite as settled in the contact, just a lot of movement in the mouth, showing a bit of the anxiety, but she's doing a very nice job to just keep the horse with her and really ride through these movements to pull in the marks when she can. She's just saying to the horse, stay up in front, stay with me, and just that one step a little bit wide with that left hind. She quickly got the balance back. Some nice stretch, the horse just taking the head and neck down for that free walk. And then smoothly transitioning back into that medium walk for this 8-metre circle. So this circle 8 metres, so should just be 2 metres in from the centre line. Yeah, doing a much better job this way, just keeping the balance back on the hind legs, and managed to keep that positioning and the activity of the steps. So nicely into that hold, just not quite squaring up behind. Just saw the balance a little bit on the forehand, but again up into this nice trot. Just being careful to keep the balance back and the pole highest. The horse getting a little bit onward and needing to balance a little bit in front, but Lotte doing a good job of rebalancing her and nicely into that leg yield. Just a little bit quick going into it, meaning she just lost a tiny bit going the energy through the shoulder on the right side, so she arrived at the track a little bit too early, but the horse very accepting and keeping the rhythm throughout the movement. Showing good bend, good changes of bend, the horse smoothly moving around those turns on this serpentine. Lotte just constantly rebalancing the horse, saying stay up, encouraging that self-carriage. Again, you could just see at times that little bit too much neck bend. The horse really obediently moving away, but just being careful to keep that balance and alignment for those big, big marks. Really nicely up onto that centre line. And just again, a little bit too much on the forehand into that hole, so not quite able to square up, but a very solid test in this grade 3 under the pressure of this team competition. And the Netherlands, 2 huge scores already. Frank still to come later in the day, but a nice score from Lotte would take the pressure off a little bit. I think it won't quite be in the realms of Sanne and Demi's yesterday, but 3 scores means the team does have a score. So just taking the pressure off Frank a little bit from a team completion point of view. They'll be looking to podium. And for that qualification spot for Paris. Current world champions from 2018. And what can they do here this week? So the scores just coming through for you now. This last rider of the grade 3.
And the score for Dressage and Rosenstone.
And we should have them in a moment, just adding on those collectives. Judge at E, 73.824, H, 71.912, C, 70.294, M, 70.441, and B, 70.588. So a final score of 71.412. She goes into 5th individually in this class, so a very good result for her individually to qualify through for the freestyle. But a 3rd score for Holland. You can see those huge, huge scores from Sanne and Demi yesterday. A 3rd score for Holland. And here the final result for this grade 3. Tobias posting a whopping 79.265. A massive, massive margin. Rebecca Hart 2nd for the USA with a huge 74.706. And Natasha Baker in 3rd for Great Britain, 73.676. And those 10th, 17th place. So those scores will be combined with the results from the individual to decide the top 8 to go through for the freestyle tomorrow. But some massive, massive scores for the team competition. Tobias standing out in front by a huge margin for Denmark. And another massive, massive score for their team result. Rebecca Hart also completing the team result for the USA with a huge 74.706 to sit in 2nd place. And Natasha Baker sitting in 3rd for Great Britain, 73.676, the 3rd score for the British team, with Sophie Wells left to come in the grade 5 this afternoon. So here are the current standings. USA with a complete team score sit out in front. France in silver, Austria in bronze, with the final rider for the Netherlands and Denmark and Great Britain in this last group in the grade 5 later today. And we will have a short break before this final class, the grade 5, starts at 2:20.
well-being is our inspiration and the bond that connects us. Your health and happiness means everything. We owe you more than words can say.